No, I love you all, but I mean, if you can't get nothing to, you don't have nothing to dress for Black History, it's fine. Just, but I mean, find somebody. Everybody got computers and all that stuff on your telephone. You can get something that's simple that you can read. You don't have to memorize it. Just read it. But we really need to be united on the things that we do, or else we just don't need to do them. Because we're not edifying God in no kind of way. When you're not doing it unitedly, you know. So, you know, the way I feel, we probably won't have Black History next month. Nobody participate. Nobody doing nothing. People brought food, you know, and to tell the truth about it, people that brought food is the ones that don't even come here half the time. But you know, we got to do better. We really have to do better. And this New Year, we said we always gonna do better. So we gotta catch up. We just going into the year, we gotta catch up.
We're gonna work on it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work on it really hard. Okay, my Black today is that we usually have a person, you know, a family would do a Black History person each Sunday, but we didn't have that going on this year. So we're gonna all kind of cram it all in the day and kind of get it out there, because we need to know, and our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren need to know Black history. If they don't know nothing else, they need to know Black history. And just like, oh God, who was that? This preacher this morning I was listening to on the news. I got up early this morning too. I was listening to this preacher on the TV, and he was saying, he was telling the people because the people didn't want to stay up, and he was reading the word, and he said, y'all can stand up for the word, can't you? If you can stand up for Obama when he walk in the room, you can stand up when they doing the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag. You see that, Brother Everett?
Yeah, I see.
He said, I can at least stand up when I'm reading the word.
Amen.
I'm telling you, it was something this morning. I said, that was good. It was really good. I never heard him before, but somehow I managed to listen to him this morning. But my person is John Brown. Now, John Brown was not a Black person. John Brown was a white man. But this is what he did. He was a abolitionist. How you say that?
Abolitionist.
Oh, abolitionist. I still can't say it. And a fanatical anti-slavery fighter is what he was. He led a famous raid on Harper's Ferry, and he became a martyr in parts of the North. And you know, he tried to help the slaves. Let me read some of this. John Brown was born in Torrington, Connecticut on May the 9th, 1800, the son of a gypsy-type family, having moved from place to place throughout New England. However, he spent most of his youth in Ohio, where the schools, get behind me there, because I'm reading there. He spent most of his youth in Ohio, where the schools taught him to take exception to mandatory education. At the same time, his parents taught him to worship the Bible. They taught him two things: to worship the Bible and to hate slavery. During the War of 1812, he assisted General William Hull by herding cattle for him. In later years, he worked at his family's tannery. At the age of 20, he married Diane Lusk, and together they had 7 children. Tired of working at his family business, he and his wife moved to Pennsylvania to operate a tannery of their own. In 1831, Danthe died. That was his wife. And within a year of her death, Brown married a 16-year-old Mary Ann Day. You would believe how many children they had. With Mary, he had 13 children, giving Brown a total of 20 children between the 2 wives. Over the next 24 years, Brown was not very successful in business, having built and sold several tanneries. So he moved around doing different things here and there. At the age of 50, Brown now envisioned slave uprising and regarded himself as a person commissioned by God to make his vision a reality. As a result, Brown was known as the Old Brown of Osmatomi and was feared by those men who were pro-slavery. By the fall of 1856, Brown had been defeated for the movement and returned to Ohio, but still held a vision of a slave rebellion. To accomplish this, Brown traveled back and forth to Kansas several times, now proceeding a grand plan to free the slave throughout the South. With financial help from abolitionists in New England, Brown started this plan by raiding plantations in Missouri, but accomplished very little by it. Continuing his plan in the summer of 1859, he decided to concentrate his mission to Western Virginia. So on the evening of October 16th, with an army of 21 men that included 5 blacks, they raided the government armory and arsenal at Harper's Ferry, Virginia. It was Brown's plan to steal the arsenal weapons and arm thousands of slaves, who he believed would flock to him upon learning of his raid. However, Brown's plan did not work as he had hoped. Pope man, he tried to do everything he can, but everything he did just fell through. But he ain't stopped, he kept trying. However, Brown's plan did not work as he had hoped. Instead, groups of the militia, as well as United States Marines under the command of Colonel Robert E. Lee, converged on Harper's Ferry, trapping Brown and his men at a firehouse on October 18th. Storming the building, Lee and his men killed 10 of Brown's men, captured 7, including Brown. Later, and found guilty of treason. This man did all his work and found him guilty of treason. John Brown was hanged at Charleston on December 2nd, 1859, as a result of Brown's last speech and his fearless demeanor on the gallows. He became a martyr in sections of the North. I want to read the first part and the last part of his speech. His speech says, I have made it please the court a few words to say. In the first place, I deny everything but what I have all along admitted. The design on my heart to free the slaves. I intended certainly to have made a clean thing of that matter, as I did last winter when I went into Missouri and there took slaves without the snapping of a gun on either side, moved through the country, and finally left them in Canada. I designed to have done the same thing again on a larger scale. That was all I intended. I never did intend murder or treason or the destruction of property.